Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Petty Cash Podcast. This is your host today, Joe, and I'm with my other co-host here,
Batman,
Sabrina,
Danny,
and Charles.
and we're here to bring you another exciting episode. We got a lot of things, and yes, that was Vinny as Batman.
For the listeners, he's wearing his
Keaton Batman cowl.
Batman cowl.
Yep.
Yeah, just told him.
It's taking me so much to keep my laugh in.
So
It's hurting his head.
yeah, and so he had to walk through my condo in front of all my neighbors dressed as Batman.
I'm coming down the hill with two bags with my arms just flayed out like I'm holding the cape or some shit. I'm just trying to keep my balance, but I'm running down the hill with the mask on.
Okay.
Just get another AMC one. Like, sir, you can't wear that.
Sir, you can't wear that in here. Harken to the AMC, just team up. His greatest supervillains. So, speaking of like superheroes and all that, yeah, we're going to be discussing about the Ant-Man, the third entry of the Ant-Man series with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
I just realized I didn't turn my mic on when we started.
Oh, you did it?
Oh my gosh,
It's okay. It's all right.
we're professionals.
Professional podcasters here, folks.
But also, we'll be talking about Ant-Man, a certain superhero in a Super Bowl trailer. Well, superheroes, actually.
Yeah.
It was a Super Bowl spot and a full trailer.
Yeah. And also, Vinny, you brought some.
Oh yeah, it's time
bean
once
dip.
again for our favorite segment on this podcast: trying weird snacks.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever.
Weird snacks.
It's not technically a weird snack. Maybe it is to Danny because he's a freaking alien out of this world. I don't freaking know.
Beans are gross.
But
oh my God.
he's an alien. For someone who gave me shit for being a Mexican that doesn't drink, I'm giving you shit for being a Mexican.
Yeah, there you go.
And now we're on to this.
I think Sabrina, you should switch so we can see them like beat up each other. Have Lex Luthor and Batman fight each other here.
Batman versus MODOK. Fight.
All right, Charles, we grab chips. All right,
Oh
anyone?
my gosh.
Okay,
Sabrina?
so Super Bowl, I make this amazing cheesy bean dip with Velveeta cheese, salsa verde, and of course fried beans, and it turns out amazing every single year.
Actually,
okay.
Oh wow,
Right?
No,
Yeah. Okay, that actually is good.
yeah,
wow.
and the hint of lime chips helps so much because it adds that flavor.
Welcome to another ASMR episode of the Petty Cash Podcast.
you know me with chips. All right, sorry guys, it's mine now.
Wait, that was actually pretty good.
Right?
Yeah.
I love the hint of limes. The limes add so much flavor to any dip or sauce.
There's like the
that you have.
tiniest bit of kick at the very end.
Yeah. Wait a minute, this isn't a week old, is it?
No.
He opened it when he brought
You
it.
think I'm gonna sit there and give you guys weed infested bean dip?
Yes.
No, a week,
Yes.
a week old.
A week old.
Yeah, your bean dip, I mean.
I mean, it's still good. I've been eating it.
Whatever.
Yeah, I
Hey,
mean,
I'm still alive. I'm eating it. I'm not dead.
are you sure about that?
Dude, that entire thing, plus a little kettle, was that much bean dip I made.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So it's been a lot. So I'm letting you guys have what's left of
Where'd
it.
you get the recipe from?
I just made it.
Really?
You just like tried different things and so like, okay, these go together. These go together.
Well, so I don't even remember where I got the recipe from, but basically what it is, it's a whole block of Velveeta cheese. Probably just for a small portion, go like half. But it's half Velveeta block of cheese and then 1 can of refried along with 1 can of the salsa verde from...
Yeah.
God, what is it? The Texo salsa or something like that. I can't remember the name brand, but yeah, basically it's just that. That's all it really is. And then you add a little bit of extra hot sauce in there.
Yeah,
Perfect.
thumbs
Oh,
up. I mean, you can barely
okay.
taste like anything spicy or anything, but
Yeah.
it's actually good, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Fresh, warmed up, and churned and all. Thumbs up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Now we just need to see Amish Vinny making us some fresh butter.
you. Go to dog.
Get out of nowhere.
You're not
dude.
German,
That's
you're Amish.
it. Whatever, same thing.
Oh my gosh.
How about this? Oh, Lord.
All right, so
Now that we've offended everybody,
So last Friday, we went to Harkins, Chandler Crossroads, and we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Try to say that 5 times fast.
Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I can't help it.
oh my
Make it
gosh.
15 times now. Oh.
I'll do it. Don't test me.
We'll get to see Danny's face on the screen.
So this is technically actually would it be the 5th Ant-Man movie?
No,
'Cause-
third Ant-Man movie, but possibly like his 5th or 6th.
So let's
appearance
see,
in the MCU.
Ant-Man. Okay, those 3 movies: Captain America: Civil War, and the Avengers,
Avengers
Okay.
Endgame.
Yeah, he wasn't in Infinity War.
No, he was mentioned, but he wasn't
right.
in it.
Wait, was he in? I mean, wasn't that the or where did that end credit scene came from? Where the Pym family got dusted?
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, it came out.
Okay.
It came out in 2018, like 2 months after Infinity War came out.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's really much. We're not going to get into non-spoiler other than it was okay. That's just for mine. I don't know. Let's go around the table first for non-spoiler part here first. We'll start with Batman here, Bat Vinny. Just give a quick, and then we'll roll on to spoilers after this.
Okay, so this movie to me was an absolute blast. I had a lot of fun watching Ant-Man Quantumania. We got to see Kang the Conqueror for the first time in the MCU. He was pretty decent.
He was good.
But all in all, with the way Marvel's track has been going, just don't have any high expectations. Just go in and have fun with it.
Turn off your brain.
Yeah, turn off your
yeah.
brain. Just enjoy it for what
Enjoy
it
your
is.
Coke and popcorn.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. All right, Sabrina, what about you?
I would rate it, at least me personally, either a 6 or 7 out of 10. And I just thought it was funny overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, Ant-Man movies were always funny, so I'm glad that it kept at least in par with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Danny.
Sorry, chewing here.
He likes it.
Ant-Man, I would give either a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. Paul Rudd was fantastic as always. Jonathan Majors fucking killed it as Kang the Conqueror. He did a great job. Michelle Pfeiffer, I enjoyed her. Like she was technically like introduced in the last Ant-Man movie as Janet Van Dyne. So like getting to see her more, like do more on screen this time was good. Once we get to the spoiler section, I will get further into my problems with it. But
All of our
you shut
problems
the
with
fuck
it.
up.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I would see it again on the big screen. Would I own it on Blu-ray? I don't think so. I don't own the previous movies.
We'll say that. Yeah, we'll get to that later. But anything else though? Hold on. Anything else though?
Okay, we'll get further into it, but both post-credit scenes were good, but the second one especially was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll definitely get to that. Yeah. Okay, Charles.
For me, it's a solid enough movie. It's Ant-Man. Don't think too deep into it. Yes, there's some problems with it, but otherwise, it's just a fun movie. Grab some popcorn, grab a soda, grab your friends, go see it. I didn't feel like I wasted my money. You know what I'm saying? It was a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's not going to change your life, but it's not supposed to.
Right.
It's
It was a
just
good
there-
laugh.
Yeah, it's there to entertain you. You know what I'm
Joe
saying?
had a great laugh.
Oh, jeez. That's right. Yes.
Yeah, we'll
Anyway,
get there.
We'll get there.
Okay,
So,
yeah, but-
anyway, so I'd say a solid 7. Yeah.
Solid 7.
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. So if you haven't watched Ant-Man, go ahead and see it. And here we go. We're going to talk about the spoilers here. All right. So we come back. We return to Scott Lang. Right now, he's an accomplished book author and everything, and he's
Getting celebrated all across San Francisco.
yeah, and pretty much everyone recognizes him. Most people.
Spider-Man.
Exactly. Which
say-
actually,
yeah.
little trivia. Apparently, they actually are making that book. That actual yes, it's
No
for
way.
sale. It's for sale. Pre-order on Amazon. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, same cover and everything. So
I need it.
I think it's coming out October. I think some of that. Yeah.
Probably like just in time for maybe a Disney. No, it probably would. It's probably going to be on Disney Plus sometime between late April, early May. Because like with Disney's track record with like theatrical releases and the digital streaming releases, it takes somewhere in between 45 to 65 days.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, that was something that surprised me because when I saw the cover of that book in the movie, I was like, "Wait a minute, I saw that on Amazon." And then there you go.
Oh.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah, and so we'll post the link here soon. Anyway,
Affiliate link down below.
So yeah, we follow him, and we come back to the family and all. Find out that his daughter Cassie kind of has like his little criminal ways and shit, and she winds up in jail for a brief bit.
I just want to help.
I just want to help.
All I wanted was a Pepsi.
There was no Pepsi involved. But so other than that, we come back to the Pym family, the dinner. This is where get to the movie. We're gonna leave San Francisco here, and so of course Cassie has built. What is it, a little communicator or just this
Like
device?
a quantum signal sender, something like that.
Yeah. And so what happens is that this is where the movie picks up, like the rising action, and come to find Janet, Michelle Pfeiffer's character, and she kind of has like this, look like, you send a signal down there. Yeah. Oh yeah, Charles is.
I need that book.
Yeah, apparently #1 bestseller on Amazon.
There's another book on Amazon that we all will never purchase.
Is it in relation to Ant-Man?
It's a relation to 2016 Ghostbusters.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
So, like, we forgot the prologue of the movie. We see Janet living in the quantum realm.
Oh yeah. So rewinding back. Well, we're gonna get there with her reason why. So I know that it was discussed later in the movie, but we'll bring that up. So we'll cut to the Jonathan Majors as Kang crashes in the quantum realm. Quantum realm, and what is this place? And he's all questioning and stuff. And Michelle Pfeiffer just wants to help him out.
Wants to get home to see Hope.
Yeah, and so that's it kind of leaves you there. Follow Scott, the family, but also we'll cut to him real quick just to get this out of the way. Come to find out, he's the bad guy. Of course, he's the conqueror and all that, and of course this is kind of a cheat in the movie for me when they had the little quantum core, and so Janet, Michelle Pfeiffer's character. So Kang crashes his ship. So there's this little quantum core that basically allows him to travel to other universes and all that. And so, of course, this is kind of like an exposition cheat. Michelle Pfeiffer, she touches it, and of course she sees all the bad shit that this man has done.
Like, I wish we got a little bit more extended looks of him destroying the shit out of other universes. Like the quick little glimpses we got. Like, oh shit, he looks cool.
Yeah, and so this is basically this wasn't Kang's first appearance. His first appearance in the MCU was in the Loki show, and so of course he was kind of warning Loki. This variant was kind of warning Loki, like, there's going to be a greater threat if you kill me. And of course, what's her name? The female Loki,
Sylvie.
Sylvie. Yeah, she
you
kills.
Like me. Wait till you meet my other variants.
Yeah, and then oops.
See you soon.
So, of course, being the hero that she is, Janet's like, oh, I'm not going to help you get out of here. So
fucking blows up his core.
Yeah, Pym particles like the core, and it just explodes and everything, and he just gets all mad, like, no! This is bullshit. And so now we cut back to with Pym family. Tries to tell Cass to stop the machine and everything, pulls the plug of the signal device and whatnot, and of course, someone from the quantum realm got a signal and decides to pull them in.
Yep.
I'm surprised they didn't pull all of San Francisco in.
Right?
It was just the basement.
Yeah, no. It looked like a freaking black hole that just opened up, and it's like, oh, absorbing everything.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
I know. I'm over here in the background, like, is this gonna suck everything in, or is it just gonna suck in just those 4? Like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah, and so
See Shang-Chi get sucked in with because isn't Shang-Chi in
Yeah,
San
yeah.
Francisco?
San Francisco,
Right,
yeah,
he gets
those
sucked
are-
in with them.
and so they fall through and everything. Of course, they want to save. The reason in the movie why Janet, like, hey, like, we want some questions answered. How come you didn't tell us about this? Of course, this is where, like, we start to lose some points with, why it's not an 8 or a 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10.
Just a character keeping secrets for character reasons.
Exactly. Like, you would think, like, this Avengers level threat would have been important as soon as you got the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, guys, I need to warn you about someone I met while I was in there.
Yeah. Or here's some documents and all that to give to Shield or whoever.
Yeah, whoever's in charge.
Yeah, the government or
Sword,
something.
I guess.
Yeah, sort at this point.
So we follow their journey, and this is where the movie it turns into like almost Avatar, Star Wars,
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
Out
Inner
of this
Space,
world.
Out of This World. Yeah. And so of course Scott and Cassie they get separated from the group. And, of course, they have their own little journeys. Doesn't really take too long. Nothing really drags out. Of course.
Nothing drags out, but the editing in that sequence was very choppy. Like, quick example. Scott and Cassie get separated. They get captured by these quantum citizens. We cut back to Janet, Hope, and Hank, who run into these guys coming back up. Then we quickly cut back to Scott and Cassie. Then we cut back to finish off what Hank, Hope, and Janet were doing. Like, why not just finish out the sequence and then we go to the next part of the adventure with the
But
other three?
that's where the dragon comes from, and it's like they don't really want to. Of course, for people, the audience is watching. We got to see what everyone's doing. Everyone's got to be all attention to detail and everything. So that's where whoever the editor was, I don't know. They had to like rock it back and forth, and I think like. The moment I started looking at my watch, because I was noticing something like that, it was like a 5 minutes, and then it cut to the next scene. So
Yeah, like, just
And-
finish the sequence. Then go to the other one.
Yeah.
because they want to cut to the humor, the action very quick, because people, again, this is away from San Francisco. This is going to be another green screen type room with our actors, so it's going to.
I don't know if it's like it probably was
Well,
green screen, but
maybe, or the dome thing.
right? But what I'm
Yeah.
bringing up is like maybe like they started using like volume technology, like the digital screens of.
Yeah, like basically the whole dome, like the dome
Yeah.
setting thing that they use for something like that. But anyway, so cut back to Janet. She gets her, finds these little alien travelers and all that. It wasn't really too much. Like, hey, we need a
ride.
We need a ride to this guy's, little pad and everything, which we'll get to.
They have a friend who can help us.
And so they hitch a ride, and we'll cut back to them. So back to Scott and Cassie. They're kind of kidnapped by this tribe, and
Drink the ooze.
like drink the ooze. And at first you're just like, well, what the hell? Like, well, why is she bleeding from the mouth and all that? And
Dad,
so-
drink the slime. Huh?
yeah.
God, that was such a weird cut for me. It's like Cassie's gone, and then all of a sudden she shows up. Dad, drink the ooze. I'm like, what the?
Like, yeah, why we didn't see like them like pulling
Yeah.
them away separately and all
Yeah,
that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Such a bizarre transition. I'm over like, what is happening here?
Yeah, like, what, did she become vampire or something? Because it's, like, reddish, too, and it's, like,
Uh-huh.
dripping down almost like in fangs. It's
Well, we
weird.
know she ain't dead, and and drink it and all that, and of course,
Dad, just drink it.
Exactly.
this allude to when they drink the little ooze, you could hear like these chants surrounding.
Oosaha, oosaha,
Yeah. Thank you,
drink
Daddy. So it becomes like a little translator and all that with the ooze and everything, and I thought that was a neat little nod to Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the bubblerfish.
Yeah, baby fish, yeah.
That's where they got it from. And so as soon as like you hear the alien language chant, and then it cuts to like English, and of course it gets to the silliness of what the aliens sound like, and they sound pretty much like us. And so
the ooze?
So
Okay, guys, he drank
that's who
it.
Polka Dot Man was, the slime guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't even tell. He was so well.
No, yeah, he was
I
good.
was
Yeah.
like, jeez.
So we cut to them and everything, and to speed it up, the plot and everything. Cassie then tells we got to find a way back to
Janet.
To Janet, and of course, one of the tribe's warrior woman, whatever. She's like, "Wait, Janet," and then here we cut back to Janet, Hank, and Hope, and of course, they cut to. City and the quantum. They look like they repurposed like sets from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
You want to go
Yeah.
to the the quantum realm version of not Oga's Cantina of Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah. I was half expecting to hear in the background.
And so, wait, what?
And the funny thing is, too, I'm sitting there and I'm telling Joe, I'm like, dude, this looks like a new attraction for Disneyland. Like, what the heck?
Honestly,
could
like
be,
if
yeah.
they
I can see it.
if we have like a quantum realm night at Avengers Campus, I'd be so down for
That'd be
that.
kinda- that'd be kinda
It
cool,
would
yeah.
be neat. So they answer the bar and everything. Of course, they cut to the bar. I think that's when they Hope and Hank they drink the ooze and then they can understand the alien language. And so, of course, the guy that they're trying to get help from is none other than Ghostbusters alum Afterlife, because with Paul Rudd and everything. Bill Murray shows up. What was his name again?
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Exactly.
He's
Bill
not.
Murray.
Yeah, it's Bill
we
Murray.
just know it as Bill Murray shows up.
Yeah, as
I
soon
was
as
like, when she says like, I have a friend, like, is it Bill Murray? Can it please be Bill Murray? Yes, it's Bill Murray.
yeah, and of course, like the trailers, they with the stairs and everything that they showed, like, oh, okay, this is his scene and all. And of course, you could hear the audience, like, we all laughed and everything because we know it kind of elevates like the mood of the theater and all that. Like, okay. Like, okay, he's great. It's Bill Murray and all that. Of course, he decides to pull a DJ Lando on them, and this is when it becomes Star Wars.
We'll have to-
Lift, but anyway, I just see Danny grunting. But anyway, so of course he sells the Pym family out to Kang. Of course, he's not there, and a bunch of like squad members come in, to disrupt them and shit. And so, of course, they get into this big escape. There's like these little squids or whatever that Hank blows up, and I think that's where those things kill Bill Murray. It came.
Fate to be determined, but we don't see him for the rest of the movie. So.
Yeah, again, he's not that important. So again, it's just this big escape, lasers, pew 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 pew, and they're out. They're gonna find Scott and Cassie. I know this is kind of like a little rushed thing, but that's where the movie kind of like we'll get to it. And so we cut to Scott and Cassie, and of course, now that we find out from Bill Murray's character that he kind of sold them out to Kang and all that they're trying to find like the people that enter the quantum realm. What's that?
Kang sent MODOK.
Yeah, we'll get to him. We'll get to him. And so what happens is that cut back to the warrior tribes lady. Of course, this is played by that one Imperial cadet from Mando season 2, one of Moff Gideon's little henchwoman. We were trying to like
I
pinpoint
never
like
remember her name, but like,
Oh,
she
that's her.
she looks familiar and all that. Really, really tone. So
Am I allowed to say she's good looking?
Yeah, you can. I can agree.
even Sabrina was
Yeah.
like, she's got good abs too.
Yeah, I agree.
Abs. Oh.
Yeah, I was just like,
Quiet, man. Your internet girlfriend might hear you.
Oh!
so okay. Anyway,
Yeah, see, Joe and I, we're fine. Yeah. we can talk about it.
we're just like,
Yeah, we can talk
That male
about it. Meanwhile, Danny over here, he's like, can I? And
Yeah,
then,
it's fine.
He's like, she got great abs.
She's got ripped abs. Batman like.
Alfred,
God.
you can do her the laundry on her abs.
Hey, what's up? I'm Batman. You want to know my secret identity?
we'll get to him later. Okay, Batman. No, hold on. So yes, they find their signal and everything. Scott and Cass, their whereabouts are known and everything. Of course, Kang's soldiers, they come and wreck the little village, and they're station and shit, and they were getting blasted to bits and crap. Of course, the person that picked up the signal that Cass kind of sent out there, it was picked up by who we thought was dead, was not dead, Yellow Jacket, or in this case Darren Cross, who's somewhat kind of like mutated into the big head villain floating head known as MODOK.
That was the weirdest thing I ever saw coming.
And he was convincing, like he had this little, mask and everything, and I was like, okay, so they're gonna keep it like
it actually like looks cool.
It's shield and everything, and of course it follows the errors of the Spider-Man 3, trope with people ripping off their masks, and of course here comes taking off the mask, and they're trying to find out, who this Mr. Egghead, Humpty Dumpty here, and then out comes, it's Darren Cross, yeah,
like, hey Scott,
yeah,
with his big eyes and this weird smile, just hey, Scott.
Right? Anybody at this table here? Anybody seen Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl?
Yeah.
Mr. Electric.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Carlos Mencia.
No, not Carlos Mencia. It's George Lopez.
George Lopez.
George Lopez.
Yeah.
And is it
just to you?
And is it just me? But was the level of CG kind of along the lines of that as well? It kind of felt a little.
Well, no,
off.
because with Mr. Electric, it was supposed to be like his face in a screen, whereas with MODOK, it was just his face CG stretched to fit the shape of it.
Well, here's the weird part. His head is supposed to be enlarged, and the rest of his body was shrunken down because when Scott messed up the Yellow Jacket suit, it messed up the pin particles to where it ended up shrinking like the majority of his body, and all that was left was his head. So it did feel weird that it looked like his face was overly stretched when it's just supposed to be a big-ass head with a tiny little body. And that weird, funny shot of his tiny little butt getting put into the suit.
Did we really need to see MODOK butt?
I don't want to see MODOK cheeks.
Now he had a show prior to this, but it wasn't connected to the movie verse or anything. It was their own little thing. Patton Oswalt played, and I was kind of hoping he would dub him, but no, this totally different. So
also, I'm unfamiliar with the history of MODOK. Was he that?
He was human, but I don't think he was Darren Cross.
He wasn't Darren Cross.
No, yeah, he wasn't Darren Cross. That was a change they made.
If you watch the Avengers video game, that actually is a much more better adaptation to the origin of MODOK, where he was a person, but he wanted to become more intelligent, so he injected himself with this mutating serum that ended up making his head get larger. So he ended up getting more and more intelligent.
Okay, so that's how I thought the original history of MODOK was, or the backstory of MODOK.
And he was supposed to be super smart, like Reed Richards, smart, but
incredibly smart.
But again, it's not with this guy.
No.
So of course, cut to Scott and Cassie. They get captured and all that in the little, Imperial prison, King's prison. And so, finally, we'll bring King back into this. So Jonathan Majors, he shows up, and of course he has this little deal. And what I like about him is that he comes back and he's smooth, he's giving them a chance to talk and all that. And
what's it gonna be, Ant-Man?
Yeah, Ant-Man. And so, of course, Scott's kind of a little worried about him, doesn't really trust him or anything like that. So he doesn't want to go through with his demands, but of course
he threatens Cassie, so it's fine, I'll do it.
So yeah, he force about to kill her and everything using his force powers, Kang. And of course Scott, hey, I'm gonna threaten your daughter's life, but give me what I want and everything, and we'll be all copacetic and everything. And so of course he lets the two of them go, kind of held as hostages and everything, and he's basically using Scott to use his technology to bring down the quantum core and everything.
To fix it, basically.
And so...
because he basically exploded it to where it was this super large, almost
It was like a giant malice storm, almost.
Yeah.
It was a tritium, basically.
Yeah,
with all cogwheels and everything.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
And that's all I could get from it. I'm like, And so...
the sun in the palm of the quantum realm.
And of course, to help Kang with his demands and everything, Scott, he has to like shrink himself to where he could actually find the source of the little quantum core and like bring it down to basically the size of a Christmas ornament. And so, when he gets there, or whenever he gets near the core, there's all these like multiple variants that just kind of like come out of
Possibility matrix, I think.
yeah,
Something like that.
So
Yeah.
every decision that he tries to make differently, like Scott was multiplying, and it was just like,
oh yeah.
yeah, and so it was just kind of like stretch, like they all have like different decisions and everything, but like I like how the camera, like we know who the real Scott is, and so there's all these different versions of Ant-Man and everything, and of course with that. With all those Scott Lang clones and everything, back to the Pym family, they're the little spaceship that they stole from Bill Murray. They pick up the signal. He's there. He's near Kang's little empire and stuff. So we got to head there and save them. Of course, what?
There was also the basket of Robin, Scott Lang.
yeah.
Oh
we'll
yeah,
get
that
there.
somehow showed up.
We'll get to him. So, of course, Janet, she turbos and shrinks and tries to save Scott and
Not
everything.
Janet, Hope.
Oh, Hope, sorry. And so and they're went to save Scott and everything. And so of course, with all these variants, they're all kind of not variants, I keep saying that, but Scott clones. Of course, the one that Vinny just mentioned, here comes this Baskin Robbins Scott Lang that just shows up. And he's like, I don't know why I'm here or anything like that. And so it's kind of funny.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Yeah. And again, it's just one of those things like the Marvel humor. You kind of like want to play it a little serious, but of course, like, hey, we got to throw that gag at you. So that's when the Baskin Robbins, Scott shows up out of nowhere. And so, of course, he needs to like get up there, and so all the other Scotts, a couple of them, they try to grow large and everything and do it all at once to grab it, but of course they shrivel up and die. Mm-hmm. And so
Very much in keeping with how the Mr. Fantastic dissolved into like almost like a
saying-
feather.
with
Okay.
Scarlet Witch and everything. Yeah, they
Right.
just kind of shrivel up, and it was just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
It's kind of
That was very
weird.
bizarre.
So like ants in the colony and everything, all the other Scots, they kind of just kind of get their shit together, and
You
they
gotta
kinda,
get back to Cassie. Let's help him out.
So they just start like kind of making this mountain of Scots, and of course some of them are falling and all that, and so they're like pushing the real, pushing the real Scott up there. And of course, Baskin Robbins, Scott tries to, help him out until he falls.
Yeah.
So bye, Baskin Robbins.
I can't wait to see that cosplay more at conventions now.
Oh, you
my
will.
friend Mike, he was there at the premiere.
Yeah,
dressed
yeah,
in
I
that
remember you
costume.
telling us.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll have to show you the video after this.
So, I wish there was a Marvel Legends figure of that, Scott.
Yes.
Sold at Baskin Robbins locations.
I'll
That
sell
would be
it.
awesome.
Yeah, I would get it actually. Yeah.
Hasn't there been like actual like Baskin Robbins Ant-Man promotions? Like, oh, get the Ant-Man ice cream at Baskin Robbins.
I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen.
Let me look.
I'm surprised
Mm,
if they haven't. I'm surprised they have not done that yet.
Considering how much it's like obviously name and logo shown in the movie, so-
Right.
Yeah, they gave him the okay. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they've worked out something clearly, so I'm surprised that there wasn't some promotion.
Like maybe like a chocolate ant, like ant chunks, like
No, those are
something
actual
like
ants.
that.
They didn't keep up with the pest control.
They call it the ant
Giant
mudslide.
What
giant
is
ant
it?
chocolate chunk ice cream.
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
Vinny
I like
found it.
How is that not
Okay.
a thing?
Hold on, Danny. Hold on,
Giant
Danny. Hold on, Danny. Yeah.
No, I didn't find it. I was just gonna say that. Let's watch them call it like the ant hill mudslide or something like that.
I'm
looking
I
for
feel,
right
I
now.
feel like
There's
Danny's.
nothing
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, giant chocolate chunk ice cream.
Okay. So
Sorry, just like I got it. That tastes like
and Baskin Robbins, of course, are like, "We'll take
Baskin
that
Robbins
idea."
like listening. Oh shit! Write that down. Write that down.
Stop giving them ideas. Okay. So anyway, of course, Janet's over there, and as soon as she gets near the quantum core, just all these other clones start popping out, but they don't kind of fall or anything because
Keep saying Janet.
Janet, fucking Hope. So, all right. That's why, because I like the original Avengers so much. Anyway.
But Evangeline Lilly is so fine.
Oh, yeah, she is. Anyway, so going on with Hope, she's flying and everything, and she, Scott almost falls. The real Scott almost falls, and she grabs him, and of course, they throw a bunch of pin particles at the core, and it, like, shrinks it down and everything. And so, of course, Kang, he kidnaps. This is where I get a little mixed up here. Does Janet try to stop him, or like I know she gets captured?
Right. I forget if she tries to do anything, but I know he incapacitates Scott and Hope.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. So of course they got it and everything, and everyone's all reunited, and they're like, "Woohoo!" Everything's all fine. And of course, Scott's. Oh yeah, okay. So Scott tries to tell Hope, like, "Oh no, they still have Cassie and all that. We have to save her." And
like, we can rescue her later. We gotta get out of here.
Michelle Pfeiffer, she's like, "Oh no, screw this. Like, hey, like we'll save her, but we gotta go." And of course, Kang shows up.
How well do you know your wife?
And so Kang shows up and dispatches takes out Scott and Hope, and they're knocked out. MODOK, he messes up Hank, who's flying Bill Murray's ship.
Hi, Hank.
where he crashes and all that. Cass is still captured at this point, thrown back in the cell. Of course, Janet's taken, and now they have the quantum core and everything. So, oh crap, it becomes a rescue mission now. And so Hank is saved by the ants that were in the basement. And of course, throughout like the time that they were falling, all the ants kind of like mutated. They've grown large and a little smarter. Mm-hmm. And, they of course help out their Lord and Master, Hank Pym.
So apparently, I was looking into that. Apparently, the reasoning behind that was the ants got pulled in first.
Yeah.
And then they experienced some sort of like time dilation.
So what ended up happening was the ants went through a different phase of the quantum realm where they aged like 1,000 years. And because of the technology that Hank gave them, they were able to build not only their own city, but their own technology.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're 1,000 years old within a day. Within
wow.
Yeah.
So of course they get an army from the ants, and so they Scott and Hope, they awaken. All right, we gotta save them and everything. Cass, as she's about to be taken to her cell, or no,
they're walking her down the hallway.
And then she gets away from captivity and all that, beats the crap out of them, finds the tribeswoman, the leader. She's alive. And decides to bust her out, and then we gotta unlock all the other prisoners, and get the message out that people need to fight, Kang the Conqueror and all that.
As he's giving his Emperor speech to the quantum realm.
Execute Order 66. So yes, this is where the movie turns into Star Wars. We got to see the Kang's little,
First Order.
Yeah,
Army.
The clone troopers and all that. Like Danny and I were turning at each other, just quoting like "magnificent," aren't they? And so,
I was doing the same thing with Sabrina. I leaned over. I was like, "When did this become Star Wars?" And like,
rise to the surface.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, look, he created the First Order.
And this is when they take cues from like Attack of the Clones, Tron Legacy. Like they're ready to ascend and all that. And so, so he's about to make his speech, and of course it gets disrupted, and Cassie's now up there.
Fight.
Rise up and everything. And
you gotta fight for your right.
If this wasn't shown before, or I don't know who the screenwriter was, or like if they were all just copying somebody's homework, this is what it reminded me of. Back to that scene. If you guys watch Andor, have you finished Andor?
Yes.
Remember Aunt Petunia like making that speech? Oh, that's what that reminded me.
Okay.
Let me copy your homework. Okay.
Just change it up a little bit.
Change it up a little bit.
Okay.
And of course, like this called back. So Cassie's making like this, speech to uprise, in the King Empire and all that. And of course, again, this is similar to Andy Serkis's speech in Andor. Like, we all have to break free, and they have no control of us. Fight, rebel, freedom, all that other Rebel Alliance happy shit. And so,
and then of course Scott's like big scene with his pretty much basic generic speech.
King, we had a deal.
yeah, we had a deal. So he shows up, and he's all like gigantic and everything, and it's just like, okay, well, he just made himself a target. Shoot him. And so, pew, pew, pew. Yeah, I know.
And they had some pretty cheesy lines thrown into that scene, and I'm just looking
Our
at
word is our bond. I'm like, yeah, okay.
well, here's the thing. That's not the part that bothered me. It's him being like, they came. Come on, let's go. It's like, really? You got to have that kind of speech into it?
Yeah, you have to tell them and all that. Like, yeah, we get it.
We
They're
get
here.
it,
The
dude.
rebels are here. I mean, no, we can't say that. The quantum soldiers and all that. Let's go and all that.
Also, Scott Lang, you're 50 feet tall, dude. Run through it all. Quit taking
Yeah,
your
stop
time.
taking your time. Just get to it.
Jesus.
And so,
Right. Left.
left, the right. Yeah. And so, of course, again, another Star Wars moment and all that. Like, lasers are flying.
I mean, it looked cool. I'll give it that. It looked really cool.
Yeah,
and-
it was neat,
and the
but
other-
seen it before,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I'm not like not saying that, but just like to me, it's like, oh, this looks really cool.
I will give it
exactly.
this though. Like, I loved the Quantumania for its design, its character design. I haven't really seen a lot of creativity like this in a hot minute, so it really does amp itself up there for me when it comes to visuals.
So they get up there. Kang, he sets up this little force bubble, and no, he's gonna again activate his machine and everything. Of course,
You got Cassie versus MODOK.
Cassie versus MODOK.
That was a pretty fun scene.
And Wasp doing her shit.
Yeah,
She was kind of helping a little bit.
Ah, look, I'm helping.
Yeah, exactly. I did something.
Yeah, and then Hank kind of disappears, of course, and the rebels and everything. So they're getting on these platforms and all that, like connecting the bridges, basically getting to Kane Castle and all that. And so,
Shaking the TV, jeez.
yeah, and so what happens is they get their asses whooped and everything, the rebels, and of course,
Yeah, Kang comes down from the tower, just fucking blasting people out of existence.
But it was kind of like a terrible blast effect.
So, okay, so what happens is that Scott, we'll rewind it a bit. Scott pushes through the force bubble and everything just, the King's Kingdom little crumbles, and he's just like, fuck. You're like, okay, fine, I'll do things myself and all that.
do it myself.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now, this is, okay, for people who follow the movies and all that, this guy's supposed to be the big baddie for
Yeah,
me.
he's the next Thanos.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call him that.
but the next, like, big threat.
The big threat. Yeah. So okay. So here we go, and so he gets out the window and everything, and he's just like mauling all the rebels and all that, and he's basically Watchmen, Dr. Manhattan, just blowing these guys to bits, and he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So they basically. Quick little shot. Again, I know they repurposed it again with him, like, pew pew pewing, from Janet's little dream her dream sequence, and this is what he's doing and all that. He's basically doing the exact same thing what she saw, and so he's killing everything, and it looks like Scott, Hope, and Cass, they try to rough him up, but they get their asses handed.
I am king.
And
Pretty
of
much.
course, Giant Scott, he gets up and he like throws him to a wall and everything, and you just think that he's gonna get his ass kicked, and this is where the movie kind of plays with audience expectations. Okay, this is where he's gonna come to rise and all that, because they tried and they lost, and so what happens is like, nope, here comes Hank Pym with the Ant Army, and of course, a couple of the other rebels, they recuperate, join, and they come to attack Kang and all that. So
MODOK helps give the final blow.
oh yeah. So to add, Cass kind of takes out MODOK. You know, of course, he has a little immediate change of heart. Like, you're a good guy.
Cass.
We'll get to the frustrations. So,
But Cass with him, she's like, just don't be a dick.
just don't be a dick.
But look at me. I'm a dick.
Yeah. And then,
Is that how we need to beat all the villains now? Hey, Thanos, stop being a dick.
look what your dad turned me into. And so, of course, the ants, they're all charging, and Kang, he like creates this other like
the little like shield bubble, trying to hold everybody back, trying to blast people.
yeah,
where
but
he
like the
can.
ants, of course, they up to like I don't know thousands and millions, just like crowding into this bubble, basically leaving like a little. They're like creating this little opening until that's where Darren Cross MODOK comes in, just like betrays him. Comes from behind or side and like leaves a little opening for the ants to just come in and just take Kang away, and he's like being like pulled back like no, but of course he leaves like one little final shot, a little burst to MODOK, and of course Darren dies, and he thinks he's an Avenger. Yeah,
I'm an adventure.
I'm an Avenger, and Scott just
Fuck no, you're not.
before as you can see here from Danny's frustration. So yeah, Scott like yeah sure okay. Anyway, Darren's story's finished. MODOK is gone. Looks like everything is fine. Woohoo! The rebels won and everything. Let's go back home. Of course, everything just seems a little too like calm.
Huzzah!
Yeah, of course, like, hey, wait a minute. We still got a couple more minutes for this movie to end. And, of course, those stupid cliches of, like, the portal's open, let's go before it closes. 1, 2, 3, like, 4. And, of course,
Kang's
Scott's
not dead, of course.
Scott's not the last one. And, of course, he tries to reach. Pew! Like, here comes Kang.
You could win.
Yeah, and he's just like his clothes are all tattered and everything. He's
Like Kang is beating the shit out of Scott.
yeah, he took care of those ants. We'll get there, Danny. We'll get there.
I'm sorry. just
Yeah,
like-
and so what happens is that like the portal's still open. Like, oh, where the hell is Scott? Like all 4 of them, the Pym family, they're waiting for him. Of course, Kang. Like for someone like Scott. I mean, his helmet gets ruined. So he can't really necessarily like grow big or do any like shrink punches.
He's now just a man
Yeah.
fighting a titan.
And so he's getting some lucky punches to Kane, but like you could see Paul Rudd. He's getting tired and all that, but like Kay is just like he pummels him and he just punches him until like blood is like raining from his nose and mouth.
Yeah.
And he's just getting his ass whooped, and it's just like a little bit uncomfortable to notice, like a couple of you guys, but also audience, like okay, like oh my god, like it's are we like going to see like Scott die and all that? Like this is it. Like
I was
this
kind of
is
expecting that. Honestly.
Yeah, it almost seemed like.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so this is cool. It's all playing with like, okay, this is him. He's about to take over and all. This is where the big threat is coming in. Of course, Hope comes in, pew, and so of course she's, shooting him and all that, trying to, get help out Scott and everything. And so, Kang, he's almost about to get through the portal. Of course, Paul Rudd stops him. They blow up the core and everything, and of course,
Here comes Hope.
Yeah, he's already there.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So, before that, of course, Scott and him are fighting. Kang kind of, he breaks the core himself. He kind of gets thrown back to it when Hope is helping Scott, and so of course. Kang falls back. He's like, "No!" The whole super villain trope. Be like, "I'll be back." And no, he doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. But like, the core breaks from behind him, and he's just
He gets like sucked in with the implosion or whatnot.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, they basically do the same thing, kind of like what they did earlier. Is they shove a bunch of the Pym particles into it again, and it ruptures it, and then
But-
creates that black hole.
and
So, like, is Kang dead? Is he not dead? We don't know. But again, because there's wait to meet my other variants. He'll be back.
he'll be back.
Here's another thing too. Janet shoved a bunch of the growth particles into it, and this time Scott threw a bunch of growth and shrink particles into it. So I'm like, oh,
yeah.
So that creates a crazy like combustion.
So yeah, okay, and portal closes, and you're just kind of like, oh, so what we're all thinking here, as we were watching the movie, like, oh crap, the portal's closing. Hope and Scott are there in the quantum realm, and there's no way coming back home. So
like, well,
as an audience, we're thinking, okay, so
they're
this
stuck down there.
this will explain their absence of the big threat to come and everything like that. Got it. Of course.
Seconds later,
Psych. Yeah.
in the basement, fixing the computer. Portal opened back up.
Yeah, and
Let's go home.
doesn't show you them. It's just like happy. And
Yeah.
of course, they try to throw you in. Like Scott's like not really too sure. Like he's kind of terrified that Kang will return. But
Now he's getting paranoid. Like, did I do the right thing?
did I do the right thing? Exactly. And of course, movie ends, and
And I do kind of wonder that myself. Like after we watched it, I sat there going, "Wait, did we kill a good Kang or did we kill a bad Kang? Like which Kang?"
that motherfucker was bad.
Bad Kang.
And-
Some bad to a degree, but at the same time,
no,
like,
that like
do we know?
I'm
bad.
I'm a conqueror.
He was bad. Anyway,
So mid-credit scene, this is where we see the other variants of Kang, and there's kind of this pharaoh-looking Kang.
I forget
There's
what he has a specific name, like King,
Mm.
like ramen or something, like ramen tut or something like that.
whatever he is, but apparently these are the guys
King
that
Ramen Noodle.
King Ramen Noodle, King Ramen Noodle Kang.
Kang has had like a pharaoh appearance before in the comics, and that was that appearance of Kang. It's like, okay, there's that Kang.
But these are the ones that basically exiled that one, and so they're all discussing everything, and it's like we got to bring in all the other Kangs.
We see the sacred timeline again, like, oh shit.
And here's like all of them just pooping away, and they're all like just mad raging, like yeah, let's go and everything. And then that's the mid-credit scene for that one. So he's not over. It's the Agent Smith clones.
Seeing all those Kangs, like, oh, this is where the Kang dynasty comes from.
Yeah, so it's like again, it's gonna be the Agent Smith clones from Reloaded taking over for the Marvelverse and everything. So of course, we cut to the end credit scene.
The second post-credit scene where it's like, it's
okay.
a little old. I'm sorry.
God, motherfucker, let me talk. But okay, hold on. We'll tag team on this one. Here we go. So we cut to the end credits, and of course, this kind of gives us a little teaser for Loki season 2. And of course, what was the name of the Did they didn't call him Kang?
No, he had like a stage name or something. It's like time
Kinda like
is not its own.
19th,
thing or
yeah,
something
some 19th century like stage show and all that. And of course, we see he kind of had like this Frederick Douglass haircut and everything, and
Spotlight comes up on him like, oh, there's another one.
And he looks kind of like he's normal and all that, but of course, boom, we cut to Tom Hiddleston back as Loki, and he's
It's
like,
like, oh shit,
that's him and all that. And so
we
like
see Mobius with
yeah, we see Owen Wilson. He's like, who? Oh, wow. And so
Honestly, I have no idea what he said because I was freaking out. I was like, oh shit, it's season 2 teaser.
but he's just like, are you sure that's him and all that? And he's like, oh yeah. And of course, we have to follow this story. That will be discussed more. Sylvia was not with them, but this scene is probably from
Like an episode
Loki
of season 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now we got the whole movie out of the way. Where are we at right now?
53. We're fine.
Okay. We'll discuss.
Yeah, and it basically says Kang will return, not Ant-Man. Kang. Will
No,
return.
yeah. Kang will return. Yeah, not Ant-Man, not Avengers, but yeah, Kang will return. So now we've got the whole movie out of the way, and so this is where we came from with our like ratings. I said it was okay. And this is where everyone kind of fell to 6 out of 10, 6.5, 7 out of 10. It didn't get to 8, 9, and 10. There were a couple reasons why this movie didn't work. For me, they needed more of Luis in it.
I know the crew was just gone from the movie.
Yeah,
the entire
no crew.
Which is weird because they were at the premiere and they were not in the film at all. So I was just kind of like, that's bizarre.
Yeah. Well, we know one guy,
David-
Polka Dot Man,
David D.
Masheline,
I don't know how to say his
Masheline
last
or
name.
whatever. Yeah, he voiced the slime guy and all that.
But he was in the original 2 films as like one of Scott's buddies, so that's why I thought it was kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
Baba Yaga.
So, were the movie, and we'll discuss it all round table, of course, why the movie didn't work. So, cutting back to the ending, where I was like, okay, why is Kang a major threat here? Like, what is it to sell me? Like, he's going to be the next big threat to the Marvel universe, cinematic universe, and everything. When he just got his like ass kicked by the ants and all that, that for me kind of like lowered him a little more. Like, if like a billion ant or millions of ants could take him out, again, all the Avengers should have no problem with like tag teaming on one and everything.
And for this Kang to brag his rights about killing so many Avengers, be like, "Oh, they all band together."
You're an Avenger.
It's like,
Have I
dude,
killed you
clearly
before?
you are not good at conquering.
Exactly, yeah. And with him, like, Jonathan Majors is good for what he was given and everything. Of course, he bases, he bases bad guy. Like, I think he said that he watched Heath Ledger's Joker. That kind of helped him prepped up for the role and everything. And so, this guy, I mean, King is no Joker, but
He's supposed to be like one of the biggest baddies next to Thanos. Like in the comic books, he faces off against the Young Avengers.
Well, top 5, yes, but number probably takes like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
yeah, and so
he's definitely not up in the top 3 for me.
Yeah, and so this establishes him again, like what makes Kang a big threat, other than he's got multiple variants now about to,
I mean, that's so like, okay, like just because one's gone doesn't mean another one's not going to show up. Right?
Yeah.
Plus, like with the Kang Dynasty soon coming and Secret Wars, like I think they'll still show that this dude, like, yeah, Ant-Man was able to take care of him, but it's gonna have to take everyone to get rid of this guy.
Yeah. And so, and the thing that I didn't really like too was, like, I was kind of hoping for like a down ending, like
Right.
that was like, oh shit, here we go, this is it.
Scott dies, or like, oh, both like Hope and
Scott get stuck.
Yes.
But it leaves you with a little empire. Like, there's a bit of hope. They're like, we'll see them, but they're away from the chessboard right now.
It'll take them a while to get back.
Exactly.
Right.
That's
Right.
what I was hoping for. But then it just leads to a happy, like, everything is fine. And that's
Scott, you just saved the quantum realm.
yeah, and that's what kind of like disrupted me from like, okay.
The only real downside that makes you really mess with your head is Scott being now a complete paranoid of wondering if he did the right thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Trying to give him like the Tony Stark PTSD.
Yeah, they're
When
trying
he's
to do. Yeah, I got
If
that.
they do that, it was like wait, we killed.
So
him.
I wouldn't compare him to Thanos. This is where I'm going to come off as. But if I'm going to see him as like a big threat and everything, it did not establish very well. Like, it's just, he's here, he's coming, but it wasn't that like certain unease of, when we first saw, Thanos in the first Avengers. It was just that quick little head turn, and then,
Yeah.
and
To
so,
challenge them is to court death.
yeah, and so that was my problem with the movie. It took some points down that Kang. Sure, he has clones, but not really a big, not really a big threat. And this is where Ant-Man, if Scott of all people, who doesn't have super strength, can literally punch this man and he actually gets hurt. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the highest real.
Exactly.
Why should this motherfucker? Yeah, you know what? You know what, sir, Mr. Majors, Kang, whatever. Wait till you meet Wolverine, and we'll get decapitated.
But here's the
dude.
thing: it's like
But,
Thanos could go toe to toe with Hulk,
Yeah,
the Hulk,
yeah.
and this guy can barely go.
Damn it, Scott!
A couple rounds
Yeah.
with Ant-Man, who's not, and
Mr.
not even-
Gruberson is kicking his ass.
Exactly.
And so this is like, this guy doesn't buy me as a threat. That's what, like, this is where it's all heading to.
For me, it's nothing against Jonathan Majors because he acted
No,
the
no.
shit
No,
out of
no,
the
no.
role.
He did a great job.
He
Yeah.
was given, he did well what he was given. Cool. Props to him. But his motive, this is where I definitely had a problem with it. if he's trying to like mess with all the other Kangs and all that every other universe to this point, and this guy like he goes from like I'm calm to like okay I got to get my shit done. Well,
0 to 100 real fast.
Yeah. Like as soon as like Michelle Pfeiffer had a thought, this is where he kind of falls with the whole James Bond villain trope and everything. As soon as he sees that bitch, got enough exposition to like, he should have just pewed her. Be like, okay, thanks for the orb. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Meet King Conqueror. Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, so here we go. Like here comes the movie and all that. But
Like I think to help legitimize his threat a little more is that if once we get to the Kang Dynasty or once like Loki season 2 ends and he actually kills a few like somewhat major Avengers, then like okay, Thanos didn't kill anybody, but Kang did.
So the thing is, this is why we like watch the movies and all that, because this is where like a huge event should have. But if it has to be downplayed to a fucking TV show, again, this is where it's kind of like not. This is where I have to separate movie audiences with people at home audiences and all that. Many people, again, this is where it kind of falls through. You have people who don't even have Disney Plus, and they have to play catch up and all that, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Right, like
Yeah.
for example, people who didn't watch WandaVision, all of a sudden, wait, why is Wanda a bad guy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and you have to explain it. It becomes like, well, didn't you watch the show? And then the people play Mr. Know-It-All and all that. And it's like,
Yeah.
you have to, again, this is what you have to tackle with. So, again, this is where it kind of like, knocks it down a couple points. Now, people forgetting about their powers or something.
Don't even remind me. Good lord. That was just embarrassing.
No.
Kang literally had the ability to like squeeze or crunch you up, and he kept forgetting. Oh yeah, I have powers.
Yeah. Like he was
It's
able
not that
to.
he was forgetting. It's just they just became convenience. That's that like it,
Again, this is where it comes from. The whole like, why don't you just fucking do that? Get it over with. And so okay, it falls under that category. Now going to the stars and everything. Like I said, I think Paul Rudd was great. I didn't see change. I mean, I love how the trailer's like, is they kind of play it like, is he going to go back in time and be, spend more time with, Cassie when she was like a little girl during the Snap period, or
Yeah, wasn't that kind of
that was thrown out the window. You don't get it with this movie.
Nope.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of like the deal Kang made was like, I can help you get the years
Like
back.
here's another time, a timeline where you could actually be with your daughter. Psych. And so again, knocks the movie down. So on a scale, and this is where we're gonna come back to, Danny. Will I own this movie on physical copy? Maybe not.
The only reason I would is just to watch Jonathan Majors again. He was easily my favorite part of the movie. He did such a good job.
I mean, I'll own it on hard copy because I do have the original too. I like Ant-Man, and I definitely like this movie a lot better than what we
completionist,
recently had.
Yeah.
Like Doctor Strange, felt disappointed. I have been disappointed with the Marvel franchise lately with all their productivity. It just didn't live up to the expectations or didn't even try to. So Ant-Man, I say, is up there where I'm like, I'm putting it on the shelf.
You put it on the shelf. Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Serena? No, I'll just use Danny's collection.
That's essentially it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what about you, Charles? Wait, do you have all the Marvel movies?
I do. I
Do you have all
You
of them
do?
or a majority of them?
I think I got all of them. Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, right there.
Wow.
Right there.
Wow.
So, yeah. I mean, it's good enough for me to own in the collection, because I do like Ant-Man, yes. Yeah, I don't know if I'll watch it all the time, but
Only Disney would release all the Disney Plus shows on physical.
Oh, but they want you. It's their nice marketing ploy.
They just don't want our money, I guess. I'm sorry. I have a big problem. Here's we release the shows on the streaming platform, so y'all can keep up with the MCU timeline.
Right.
Well, if you want more money from your customers, Disney, if you release these on physical, then we can put these all on the shelf.
Yeah.
we have a complete collection of everything.
But
you've released.
it would disrupt with everything their ways with digital, with the streaming services and all that. We want people to pay for Disney Plus.
Well, then guess what? There are other ways of people getting it on physical. then.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like with me and
Those are the real heroes.
well, like with me and
Thank you.
exactly. But I mean, it's like for me, I have the Orville and I have Star Trek Lower Decks. Those were, I think that was what, Paramount Plus.
I think Lower
and-
Decks either was or is Hulu, and then Lower Decks is Paramount Plus.
Okay, yeah. So it was on those, but instead I just waited until they came out in physical. I'm like, oh, boom, there you go, got them physical. There you go, done. I didn't buy the streaming service. I mean, yeah, okay, the company's missing out on my streaming dollars, but I'm not interested in paying them streaming dollars. I just want this show.
Yeah,
That's it.
At this point, they might as well be like downsizing Disney Plus to where it's like, dude, you got all these shows. I don't mind watching a little bit of nostalgia, but you might as well be putting these shows out on hard copy so people can get caught up and actually pay for the productivity.
And plus, like I've said this before, like if they decide to do like a Phase 4 box set and it's only the movies, that's so stupid.
Well, I mean, they've already been missing out with, Mando, not putting Mando on physical or anything like that.
or Book of Boba, yeah.
Or Book of Boba Fett or anything. Because, I mean, you can't tell me that if they put Mando out on physical that people wouldn't just be like, whoosh.
Yeah.
It would sell out in seconds online.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Easy. Yeah, but
Should we talk about our favorite part of the movie?
No.
Oh, thank you, Batman. So, okay, just firsthand, we are getting to that time. We won't probably talk about Michael Keaton's return as Batman in the Super Bowl.
We'll save that for the next
Yeah,
episode.
We'll save it. But
Yeah, you wore,
So,
that, you wore
okay.
that for nothing, Vinny. Sorry.
We got to talk about what happened in the movie.
Okay,
too, 'cause
okay.
This was so good. Like, can I talk about it from my perspective real quick?
No. Joe can go first.
yeah, okay. Hold on.
right.
So, again, we're trying not to be those fucking annoying people in the theater, like you could hear us and all that when it's like a quiet moment. So we're trying to find like something that's like I try to interject a commentary here. So, as soon as Darren's revealed as MODOK and everything,
It's when they're at the prison cells, right?
no, when he first shows up, when he takes off the mask and
Yeah,
everything.
When he first shows up and they're in the middle of that battlefield.
Yeah, but it's so like it's me, Darren. So
Scott.
as soon as the face, so let me describe the atmosphere and all that. So as soon as the face is revealed, like chuckles because it looked like a terrible like stretch effect on the actor.
yes, it did.
So like,
So to set the scene a little bit more, Vinny is off on the far left. Joe is next to me. I'm in the middle. Sabrina's on my right, and on the far right is Charles.
yeah, and so we're watching this, and so I have Vinny on the left side and Danny on the right, and as soon as reveal for Darren, like Danny's like what, and so the guy just keeps talking. So MODOK keeps talking, and like the trick of the brain, I'm like. It reminds me of somebody. So I turn my head to the right. So I'm looking at all, but I'm like, no. I have to turn, because I can't say it because he's, Danny's he's watching. So then I turn to, I turn to Vinny, and he couldn't hear it at first because I was like, this bald guy, like.
I'm like so focusing on the screen.
Yeah,
looking at
so
MODOK.
he's just, and here's like my little like fucking devil in the ear, like
I'm like, what
it's Dan, it's Danny on the screen, and he's like, who? Can you?
He's like, yeah, he's over like, it's Danny. And I look at the screen for a split second. Also, my brain flips. I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah, and then they both look over at me like, what?
So and we become the annoying people in the theater. So Vinny starts cracking up in a scene that's not supposed to be funny. So we laugh. We're like, And so,
and I still don't get like what is so
what's so
funny?
damn funny? And of course,
And
like,
I'm wondering it too. Like because I hear
know.
them laughing. I did hear a few other people chuckling as well. So I was like, I wasn't sure what was going on.
Yeah.
Joke got my brain flipped. I couldn't stop laughing, and I'm trying so hard to compose myself. I couldn't unsee Danny as MODOK.
so I'm pulling it, again, trying to like put like my mouth in his shirt.
I'm just
like hiding it. And so, yeah, Danny's like, "What's so damn funny?" And I'm like, "It's you." And then just that Danny of displeased. As soon as he, of course, he's wearing a face mask. When he closes his eyes, and I love that look because it spawned since The Last Jedi, and just that. Fuck my life. And then, like, I just gesture, and so, and so it can't hold it. So every time, the movie's again ruined. Now, so does it knock down a dial? It actually bumped it up from a 5 to a 7. So I was seeing it, and I'm like, Danny, you're an Avenger. Just not that one. It's another variant.
Look at me. I'm a dick.
We don't want to go there.
Vinny, you realize you're in punching distance.
I got your girlfriend as a shield.
No!
Hey, come on.
No! You're on your own.
Take it outside, you two.
But it was so wait, hold on. Let's go with the. Vinny's right here laughing his ass off in this Batman cowl. So I know his origin story as Batman. I'm gonna shove my parents where they get shot. I'll be a crime fighter. Anyway. So okay, that was our. Why put that on the air? But it's funny. It was just too good to pass up.
We got to show the picture
No.
that you photoshopped.
No. That's
I am the editor. I have the power.
That's within this circle. And here's the thing: I will never put anything out there that's going to relay it to people on the outside. That's not a part of this. Again, Vinny, this could have gone for you too. If I would have added Mr. Clean. Since you were bald in that pic, you know what? There could be variants of all 5 of us here as MODOK. So,
Right.
Oh, hell yeah.
and I take it with pride. But anyway,
You just see me.
all right.
I'm
so-
an Avenger.
Danny, to your credibility, though, man, if you cosplayed as Yellow
No.
Jacket, you would
Yellow Jacket. Sure.
Yes, that's all
You
I'm
could totally
saying
pull
is
off
just
Yellow
go
Jacket.
for Yellow Jacket.
Yeah.
Like,
That'd be a hell of a cosplay though. But
You could totally do it, though, man.
what?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh man.
All right, so we're running out of time. This is it for this episode of our Ant-Man review, Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania review. This is the Petty Cash Podcast. I'm your host today, Joe.
Batman.
Sabrina.
Danny.
And Charles.
Slow down and chew your food. And that's Vinny.